Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I am here with Nathan from Ares Games, looking at Tales of Evil, a publication by Escape Studios that Ares is distributing in North America. And Nathan, I hope you can tell us a little bit about the world of Tales of Evil. Why would we want to explore Tales of Evil? I mean, shouldn't we be staying away from that? What are we trying to do here?
Yeah, thanks. It's Tales of Evil is a 1 to 5 fully cooperative kind of exploration storybook game. You're playing a bunch of middle schoolers from the 80s that have started a investigation group called Pizza and Investigation. And so actually in the top left, you'll see there's a bunch of different character cards, and you choose of these different, they call them the Braves in the game. And you're basically, in this story, you're trying to, the mistress puppeteer, you're trying to like defeat her or find out the story. So the storybook, there's 2 storybooks in the game, actually, and each have over 500 options of choose your own adventure. So there's a lot of replayability, and each book has about 6 chapters. And yeah, so you basically start as picking one of your Braves. Each one of them has a special ability, and you basically go to the storybook and you pick out your whatever starting chapter you want.
Okay.
So like the tutorial, is one where you're actually just, you find this mansion, and you're actually just exploring the mansion. You know nothing of the mistress. You just found this house, and it somehow had this weird draw to you, and you start exploring it, and then it just goes deeper from there. But yeah, it's very 80s, very, if you like Mansions of Madness, Stranger Things, I can't stress enough. It's a lot lighter. Okay. It's more family oriented. And it has this really cool kind of fusion augmented reality. And I think it's the one thing that separates it from the genre, is it has this thing where in the storybook, it'll tell you like fusions, like you have to physically, like one of the mission quests where we had to go through a fountain because we saw something shiny. And so one of the Braves managed to, had to take off their shoes to go into the fountain. So the storybook actually makes somebody physically take their shoes off and to like go into the fountain. But then there's like a moment later, if you go further into the scene, and it'll say, oh, if you didn't put your shoes back on, you're going to step on glass. And there's phone numbers to text, phone numbers to call, emails. There's one of our favorite ones was go find a VHS tape in your house. And if you can, good things happen. If you can't, bad things happen. So it has this kind of, it's no app required, but has this kind of augmented reality. There's some QR codes that you can scan. They'll give you weird puzzles and stuff like that to figure out. Yeah, so, and it plays in about, I would say each scenario takes a little over an hour.
Okay. Oh, interesting. I mean, so yeah, it's tying in a bit of the nostalgia, just as you mentioned with Stranger Things and that sort of environment that we're looking at. But of course, the appeal is much more like the Gothic appeal from 1900. You're seeing an old mansion. You're going to go explore it and go in here. I mean, that's,
and then it it also has, tons and tons of 80s references. Like, I believe that car in the garage is like after, like Knight Rider, and like there's cars where you actually have to like, name certain famous things, like name what's, the leader of the Decepticons, Megatron and stuff like that. And so if you can get it right, you get good things and bad things. Yeah, those are all the map boards you see there, and that's also really vast. There's, I think I want to say 12 of them in total, and they're all 6 and double-sided. So
okay,
yeah, Another thing that's
So,
I kind of like about it that's different as well, that kind of fits the theme, is because you're a group of kids, you can't just go out and exploring on your own. You have to, they stay as a group. Um, and so that's kind of another interesting thing. You have to kind of decide together. And if you see kind of up in the top, there's a walkie-talkie, and whoever is holding the walkie-talkie is kind of the leader of the round. And if there's ties, then the leader will decide. Or if there's something that nobody wants to do, like walk through the fountain or such, they have those matches up there, and you actually have to pull matches, and whoever's got the short match has to go take their shoes off and walk in the fountain. But yeah, very, very interesting game. The artwork on it is gorgeous. I like all of the really interesting story elements, like that AR that I can't. That was so much fun. We played it last night, and I thought that was awesome, because I know there's a lot of people out there that you either love or you hate the app integration, and this is a cool kind of midway. You don't need an app or anything like that, but it does kind of do things that are outside of the box that kind of put you more into that immersion.
Okay. So let me jump in so that match element is fantastic. Just one of my favorite books as a kid was The Chocolate War by Robert Cormier, where it was like a gang where the leader would set tasks for people, but he would have to pull a marble from the box. And if he drew the black marble, he would have to do it himself. So it's like the element of you might be called on to do something that you wanted someone else to do, and bad things could happen to you. So I don't know. It's just like this interesting callback to that sort of environment or world. I don't know, that teen element. I wanted to jump back to the characters, to the Braves. So this is a 1 to 5 player game. Are there any adjustments, or you only use one Brave in a single player game and you add more for more players?
You can use as many as you want. You can use all the Braves if you wanted. You can use, if you want an easier game, you can use just one Brave. But I will tell you, just throwing one in there is going to be pretty tough. But I think how the tutorial mentions it is it sets you up if you're playing as one player, and you'll start with 3 Braves. And you can expand that as well. In the Kickstarter edition, which is also, they're going to have an expansion to the retail version, will have 2 extra characters as well, but it comes with an initial 5.
Okay. And they have unique powers? I don't know if you give examples of those, or
they have unique item sets. So we can talk about the character that I played, which was Flo. She's the little sister of she's Flo Spencer. She's the little sister of Ray Spencer, and she has this like lollipop, this giant lollipop that's like indestructible, and she gets like +1 to her attack. And she's also kind of wild. There's times where she will want to split from the group in certain scenarios. So one of her abilities is if there's something that affects the whole party, she can kind of pout and run off and actually gets away from it. And the sheets are double-sided, and that's kind of your play mat on the other side. Each character, you have those like status cards that have like kind of the character's abilities, and you would put that like kind of your starting stats, like health, sanity, and fear. Yeah, so this is a perfect explanation of it. So in this character, I'm trying to remember her name off the top of my head.
It's like Daphne. Looks like a Daphne.
Yes, it is Daphne. I had the card just a little out of reach. But yeah, so Daphne in this case starts with 2 health, 3 sanity, and 4 fear. And then she has all these different stats in the middle here. And what you do is in the game, which is also really cool, you have these glow-in-the-dark dice. And anytime you enter a new storybook page, they'll usually make you draw an event card. And the event card will make you roll dice and try to usually succeed on something. The little star, like whack symbol, is a success. A spider would eat a success, so that's a negative. A turtle deflects the spider, so kind of this like rock, paper, scissors thing. And then the flashlight is unique to each character. So back to that kind of the player's abilities, some of their cards affect by flashlights, or sometimes the story, the page that your turn, if you like one was if you rolled 2 flashlights, something would happen here. So very interesting. And so if a character starts to take damage here, that's when, your statuses start to go down and you'll start to lose these cards here, and your abilities will get weaker and weaker until the point that you're so scared you run away and flee the mansion. There's also difficulty settings, so you can remove status cards as well. So you might only have 2 status cards, or if you play on the easiest difficulty, you have all 4.
Okay. So what are the fear and brains? How do those relate to the tasks that you're going to be challenged with? I don't know if you want to give examples from the book, or start us off with the tutorial and give us an idea of the setting and what we're trying to do.
Sure. So like in the tutorial, you kind of fight this like Rocky Horror Picture Show, like kind of tentacle weird thing. Or at least that's how I kind of felt like it was. And in that, you would like one person, whoever fought the thing, would get entangled by it, and everyone else had to fight it. So you would lose health as the monster starts to attack you. You would lose sanity. The sanity came into play a lot when you didn't have those fusion elements. Like if you didn't have the VHS tape, you lost a sanity because this thing like creeped you out so much. And the card is a play to the poltergeist. So you need that. It's like this little girl kind of coming out of a TV, and you need the film to like kind of put her away. And then the fear is kind of your last ditch effort. So if you run fully out of health, you start dipping into your fear pool. And that once you lose all your fear, that's when you go down a status. And you'll you'll reset all your stats, lose all your extra stuff that you've gotten. You keep all your items. There's another little thing that we saw on the sheet, the batteries. So the batteries kind of keep certain elements of when you roll those flashlights. You're going to have to spend batteries to do certain things. Each person starts with 3 batteries, and you collect more as you get. So this is actually a perfect fusion element, and it's with Michael Jackson Thriller, and this is one of my favorites. So if you can find and play the song Thriller from the record, you get +1 dexterity for the chapter. If you can't, you like hear it says you hear the music from the record is your bored and would like to dance, but you can't, -1 sanity. So it's kind of these things where you're these fusion elements, you're trying to please these spirits or these, angry things. But yeah, there's all kinds of references to 80s pop culture.
That looks like ColecoVision there. I can't remember. That is crazy.
I think that is I think it is ColecoVision, or maybe it's not called television, but I'm a little young for that one. But
right. This is very much, yes, this is people from my age, because I was a youth in the 80s. and this is all my things embedded into a game. I just have to have kept them in order to benefit from them, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, all those hoarders out there, you really benefit from keeping things around. There was one with lighters. There was, most of them were, typical things. One which was really cool was turn off all the lights and light a candle. That was and you were kind of doing this kind of seance thing to please the spirit. Yeah, so it's just, I think that's the one. I think of all the elements that I really enjoy, that really just encapsulates the lighthearted fun to it that I really enjoy. And kind of, there's that poltergeist one where you had to find the VHS tape. It's got this kind of eerie song on there, kind of referencing the song in the movie as well.
That is a really interesting sort of blend of role-playing elements into this tabletop game. Like, it adds, I don't know, a lot more party activity, just the idea of running around the house looking for things and find all this. Yeah.
It's another classic, the Gremlins that they got on there. Yeah, it's and that's another thing. So there's like item cards that also reference back to, you'll see the one with the pizza boxes and that one right there. Those are all the different items. There's a stormtrooper helmet, colander, all the good classic stuff. And those those cards, what's kind of neat is you can't really tell in the bottom right, but they're worth a certain amount of bottle caps. So if you find an item and you don't end up not using it, a lot of them have only one-time use. You can, find this old kind of old man with a kind of trash cart. He's just got things that he'll trade you for the worth of bottle caps that they're worth. So it's like trade you Marty's vest for, the hockey mask, or and he's kind of just this weird trash man that just kind of arrives kind of at weird moments in the game. And he kind of acts at this shop.
That's a pretty interesting concept. I don't know, just because it ties in as well. If I recall you correctly, you're saying initially you don't even know what your goal is, or you are put into a setting and maybe I misinterpreted
not to spoil too much, but in the tutorial one, you're just drawn to this house. You don't really know why you're there, but you're there. You find yourself there.
Okay.
You're kind of drawn to these things throughout the house, and then as the storybook continues, you start to find more about the house. You start to, find things that you thought weren't real and totally are real. There's this dream element in the storybook, but
Okay.
So.
Okay. And again, that ties in sort of role-playing elements where initially it's just exploring, and then eventually you will, I guess, find a direction or
As
have
you
something
keep
to look at.
You'll kind of unlock the mystery.
Okay. All right. You mentioned this was kickstarted, and then there's other elements as well. So are those additional scenarios, or maybe I'm...
Yeah, so there's a little bit of like Kickstarter exclusive stuff. There's certain characters and stuff that you can't necessarily get right away, but they are planning to get a retail version with some of the expansions and some of the stuff that was added. There is some exclusives, like there's a neat little pizza investigation pin, enamel pin that's labeled 1980. And there's like a movie, classic 80s movie poster in there. There's all kinds of like little like artwork stuff for it. But all the elements in the core game are pretty much the same. Everyone gets like glow in the dark dice, stuff like that. Most of the Kickstarter exclusives are just cosmetic.
That's right. Bonus swag that doesn't affect the
Yep.
gameplay. Okay. Maybe you can talk just a minute about how Ares gets involved. So this is from Escape Studios, not Ares.
Yeah.
So I know Ares distributes for a lot of different companies in a lot of different locations. I don't know if you just talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, so we are an Italian publishing company. I'm the North American sales manager. And basically what we do is we specialize in helping smaller companies in their markets because, you know, they, let's say in this case is Italian. And so the hard part about the EU is, you know, most people are confined to these small state-like countries that all speak very different languages. So your market is only that one language. So we try to help with getting them translated, and then we help. We work with all major distributors in North America, so we help them get their games over in North America. So that's kind of
okay.
We've worked with Antonio a lot with Last Friday, which was a hidden movement Friday the 13th style game that we did. That was really fun. A couple other titles that I can't recall exactly, and I don't want to misspeak for any titles, but that one for sure, because that's one of my fiance and I's favorite.
Right.
Yeah,
so I know as well you represent Phalanx distributing their titles in the US.
Yeah, we have like 4 Polish partners, Phalanx and Galacta, who make this War of Mine. Yeah, we just Eterology that's doing Orconomics, and they're a Russian company, so we're working with them as well. Yeah, we're just all over the place. And also publishing our own stuff too.
Right. I mean, it's an interesting model for a company as well, because as you say, yes, there's publishers everywhere that don't have access, or at least it's very difficult if you're trying to manage a business and then branch out everywhere, because you don't want to handle inventory and
yeah. Especially too with like legal stuff. Every country's different, you know, not to bore anybody, but you know, the packaging and stuff, having the proper labels and stuff, that's also a nightmare that most people that want to design a game don't even think about, including me. I didn't even think about that until I got into the industry. So.
Yeah, there's a ton more under the surface for any game you see to actually get it to the market. So yeah, it's fascinating.
Yes, lots that go in the background.
All right, wrapping up, anything else to mention, Nathan, about Tales of Evil availability in the retail market?
Yeah, so it's going to hit, I think retail release is October 8th, so in about 2 weeks here. And so there was a little mistake that with the Kickstarter that they are going to be fixing, but if you're really interested in this game, a couple of the deluxe copies went out to just do regular retail. So if you pick up a copy now, you'll get some of those deluxe components that you won't see in the next reprint. And they only printed out, I want to say 500 copies for this first round of retail. So it wasn't many.
Okay. Oh, what is this?
I think that has with the QR code stuff.
Okay.
Like scanning things on your phone and stuff.
Okay. So let me get a shot of Lincoln's phone.
Not that far.
Right here. All right. Well, thank you very much, Nathan, for taking the time to run us through Tales of Evil. Back to the past.
Thanks so much for having me.